Hello, welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes Drinking Beer. My name is Josh.
My name is Alec.
Sounds perfect. That delay wasn't even that long.
I don't even think you need to worry about that anymore since you got the shit updated. Let's just wait until...
I have current updates that I need to update.
Oh, well, let's just wait until people complain about it again. It's not worth worrying about when we start it.
Oh, wow.
Every time.
Today is October 6th, 2021, Wednesday, 2:55 p.m.
Starting 5 minutes early. We're squeezing every last drop. I have work
Yeah, Alex got to
later,
go to work.
and Josh has a comedy show to catch, so we're trying to get this shit
Ideally.
over with. It's going to
The butthole.
The butthole.
Thank you for reminding me. Today's 2DDBFFOTD, the fun fact of the day, the B now, the butthole.
The butthole.
Is that people who read daily are 2.5 times less likely to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Gotta keep your brain engaged.
Keep giving it brain food.
I'm just drinking the same thing that we drank on Monday. Well, I drank on Monday.
Josh is trying to participate in Sober October,
Save money.
but by being drunk on the show.
I think anything to be considered reading, because you can read anything. Like if you just read
Text messages,
yeah,
porn titles. I read a lot of porn titles. I read 3 to 4 porn titles a day.
it might have to be like the standard length of like a newspaper article.
Is there a standard? Let's just say like a paragraph. If you read a paragraph,
You know, like well,
look up the details. Fuck it. Go look up the study. Look at the research. Because that was the butthole of the day.
I just get my
let's
shit.
let's look into the butthole.
Let's fact check the facts.
Into the butthole. Let's go. Yeah. It's a website for teachers, so they better cite their fucking sources.
They don't have to.
They better. I mean, granted, it's probably not ran by teachers. It's just curated for teachers. Yeah.
Reading chess may help fight, chess.
Reading chess. Horse. Bird.
From ABC News in 2006. Chess, jigsaw puzzles, and other mentally challenging activities may help prevent Alzheimer's disease. A study published today, March 6, 2001, but this article was posted in 2006.
Wow, so that's really old news. Remember how you told me I shouldn't trust any article that's older than 5 years?
Depends on...
Fuck that article is what I'm saying.
It depends on what you're using it for.
A fact. A scientific research fact or study.
How much does Alzheimer's research change?
People with Alzheimer's don't remember. Why are you asking me like I know that answer?
Because maybe you'd remember.
I don't read enough. Alzheimer's? I mean, when's the last research on Alzheimer's?
Exactly.
Everyone just, I don't know.
That shit doesn't change.
I forgot.
The new research, which appears in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, found elderly people who regularly read or play mentally challenging games are 2.5 times less likely to have the debilitating illness, which affects 4 million Americans.
Dude, so like, if your grandma plays Candy Crush, and she's like really good at it, no Alzheimer's.
The study's main author,
guaranteed,
Dr. Robert
Robert Rockdirt. Dr. Rockdirt. That's awesome.
Dr. Robert Friedland claims people who don't exercise their gray matter stand a chance of losing brain power.
And you're an illiterate reader, right? So what did that sentence just say? Don't read it. Don't reread it. Tell me what it said. Tell me what it said. Don't look. Don't look.
Dr. Robert Friedland says that if you don't exercise your gray matter, I forgot the rest. But
you're not a comprehensive reader?
Nope. I'm functionally illiterate. We've been over it.
Functionally. You're only missing one word, basically. If you don't use it, you lose it, basically. Gray matter.
I said gray matter.
Oh. Well, then I think you got everything.
You're just functionally deaf.
I'm functionally an idiot.
People who don't exercise their gray matter stand a chance of losing brain power.
There you go.
My gray matter is not strong.
Oh, just functionally, literally. I don't have my computer today, as you guys can see.
The report questioned 193 people about their participation in 26 different hobbies. Lists include physical activities like gardening, knitting, intellectual hobbies like reading, and passive ones such as television viewing.
So they're like, anyone who reads, the studies show smart. Anyone who gardens, studies show brain decay.
TV watching may even be an Alzheimer's risk factor. The study found Alzheimer's patients did less of every activity except watching TV.
What? So screen time per day?
Yeah.
Like, hey, so TV does rot your brains just when you're older.
It would be wrong to conclude that TV rots your mind, said Bill
No
Thies,
fucking way, dude.
Vice President of Medical and Scientific Affairs for the Alzheimer's Association, who has reviewed the research. I think a lot of people are looking for a new method to prevent Alzheimer's. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to turn out to be that simple.
Here's what I'm kind of starting to realize. When you get old, your body's just going to stop working. Like,
Yeah, no matter what you do.
at a certain point, medicine won't be able to heal you or fix you. And at some point, why would you? Why would you want to be 120 going to get shots and medical treatments done to survive longer when your body's clearly giving up? Like, that's got to fuck up the evolutionary outcomes of people, right? Like, people's bodies are going to just start giving up sooner or whatever. What do you got pulled up?
They found the Zodiac killer.
When? Yesterday?
It's pretty recent news. Like, this article was posted an hour ago,
Really?
but like it was like the news in the morning. They finally figured out who it was.
Hey, we got him.
But unfortunately,
He's dead.
Unfortunately, the guy passed away in 20. Why did I say that? That sounds whack. The guy died in 2018.
Well, I can clarify that. It's unfortunate because he didn't get justice served.
yeah.
It's,
I
it's
just-
unfortunate he died because he deserved to die in prison for what he did.
You know you're old when you sneeze and it hurts your whole body? Yes.
I blink and it hurts my whole body.
Sometimes my hair hurts. Or like my eyebrows if they go like a certain
I get
way.
that too. You like rub it the wrong way and it's like
Yeah.
really tender.
It just hurts.
That's weird. You think
Yeah.
it's just ingrown hair or something? Or I don't know.
I don't know.
Read the article.
So yeah, a team of more than 40 specialists believe it has identified the Zodiac killer, an unnamed serial murderer who operated in the San Francisco Bay in the 1960s. That team is called the Case Breakers,
Ooh.
which consisted of former law enforcement investigators, journalists, military intelligence officers.
Basically, a bunch of people who were retired who was like, I'm bored.
They say they've believed to have identified the Zodiac killer as Gary Francis Post, who died in 2018. Yesterday, I sneezed, burped, and almost farted nearly in succession. And I stopped the fart because I thought my heart was going to stop. Plant Daddy, that's how you take screenshots of your body.
Yeah, it's like a personal checkup.
He only killed like 5 people, though. The Zodiac killer has been connected to 5 murders between 68 and 69, notably taunted authorities through complex riddles and ciphers.
That's crazy.
And there was like a one murder on the East Coast that he wasn't tied to, but they tied it to him now.
Really? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just a trip to New York.
So, somewhere over there.
Killed a hooker. How was New York? Were you here for business or pleasure? A little bit of both. A little bit of business, a little bit of pleasure.
But like, I mean, this dude.
It looks
That's
just
the
like his
drawings.
sketch. That's crazy.
Well, these are both sketch artists' renditions.
No, I know,
of-
but go back to the other one. It was one of those the real guy? Down?
It's this guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Not the guy on the left?
This guy?
Yeah.
That's looks like an AI built.
Okay, go click on the guy on the right.
This guy?
Yeah. That's what the face of death looks like.
Yeah, that's apparently who
Clint Eastwood.
This is who they identified as the Zodiac killer. A mystery that went unsolved for 50 some odd years.
How old was he when he died?
That's a good question. That is a very good question.
Because if he liked riddles and shit, then he definitely did get Alzheimer's and shit. Did you kill these people? I don't know. I like riddles.
Da, 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 da.
That'd be weird. Imagine,
Name Gary F. Post.
imagine like getting Alzheimer's and like,
Being a murderer?
or like being the president and like, what are the launch codes? You're like, I don't know. How many people did you murder? I've never murdered anybody. Would you like some lemon squares?
Da, da.
Guy Francis.
Gary Francis.
Gary Francis Post.
He died 6 years ago. Was 2018 6? No, it wasn't.
18, 19, 20,
4.
21,
3.
3 years ago.
Someone said he died in 2018.
That's crazy.
So maybe it wasn't him. Maybe he's still out there.
The question is, who's going to take up
Died in 2018.
How old? ¿Cuántos años tienes? Gary.
He had died 6 years ago. Gary died in 2018. What the fuck?
It's another Zodiac riddle! Where are you?
The background profile of Gary has not been discovered.
How do you know nothing about this guy?
I mean, if they couldn't find who did it in the first place, what are they gonna... Apparently, if this guy truly was the Zodiac killer, and he could get, like, away with it for that long, they're probably not going to find much about him as a person.
Fair enough. I mean, it's not like he had a Amazon Prime account.
No, he probably didn't even have a cell phone.
No. That's so weird. That's like... That should be like a huge red flag. Where do you live? Rural places. What kind of cellular carrier do you have? I used to have...
Pigeons.
Yeah, I have carrier pigeons. Or I buy my ammo from the gun store. Speaking of murder, you heard about the Gabby Petito?
I saw something about that. I don't know. Did they find the guy?
No. They found her body. She's dead.
Yeah.
The boyfriend's a huge suspect, but I wanted to ask you about what do you think about people claiming that it's missing white girl syndrome?
What's missing white girl syndrome?
Google it. It'll come up.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, so I'm not sure who coined the term, but missing white girl syndrome apparently is the media weaponizing white women missing to gain attention and views.
News media can't shake missing white woman syndrome, critics say.
Yeah.
New York Times. Oh, we can listen to an article.
Let's listen to an article. Oh, this is the best thing ever. It's pretty low. Is it even coming over there?
When disappearances of
It is
people of
now.
color don't often get the same
Nice.
interest. I talked to experts about what is known as missing white woman syndrome.
I finally did my
Here's
job.
my article. On Monday night, the MSNBC host Joy Reid
I love that it
invited
reads it to
two
you.
women on her show, The Readout, to discuss the case of Gabrielle Petito, a 22-year-old woman whose disappearance during a cross-country road trip generated a cascade of front-page headlines,
She was
news
like a
alerts,
YouTuber, yeah?
and primetime
Yeah.
segments on cable news channels. The guests, Lynette Graybull and Derica Wilson, are advocates for missing Indigenous and Black women and children, and they argue that the kind of media attention Ms. Petito's disappearance was getting was sorely lacking when it came to the hundreds of disappearances that didn't involve white women. Ms. Reid...
So if she had a following already, I think it's a little bit different. Just because to say she's a white woman that they're only focusing on because she's white isn't fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had I don't know how many like subscribers she had.
Do you think they're trying to sensationalize it? Like when they say the man-made disaster of Hurricane Katrina?
Well, I actually looked into that, and the reason why they say it's a man-made disaster was because the people who built the levees to like keep the water out,
Hated trees.
no, they just didn't do a very good job.
Okay.
They did it really poorly and efficiently.
But did they summon the hurricane? Or was it just the hurricane broke the levee because it was shitty craftsmanship?
Shitty craftsmanship.
Okay. Does that make the hurricane man-made, or does that make a side effect of the hurricane man-made?
It makes the resulting disaster of the
Hurricane?
result of the hurricane a man-made disaster.
What
The flooding.
what levee broke that, and how much damage was caused by that levee breaking?
The New Orleans one? I don't know.
Nolans.
I don't know the numbers of Katrina.
Yeah. So maybe you got a point there, though. With a bunch of attention already on social media, it would make sense that a bunch of people would say to the media, hey, look into this. Because the media is going to do what gets views and attention. So if enough people
Also, fans care about their content creators.
Yeah. So if it was a black content creator, excuse me, if it was a black content creator who had a large following doing a cross-country trek and ended up being murdered or went missing, do you think the same attention would get called in to ABC or CNN? Or do you think...
If they had the same amount of followers, probably. Or,
Yeah.
like, even just, like, at a substantial amount. Yeah.
So do you think the missing white girl syndrome is it an attack? How would you... I mean, is it sensationalized?
People just don't like white people.
People don't like white people.
Plain Daddy says that my friend Lauren went missing almost 3 months ago, and she only just got media coverage, but she's Asian.
I'm sorry to hear that. What's your thought on that, Plant Daddy? Do you think white people...
Lauren Cho.
Do you think white people get more media coverage? And do you think Lauren Cho didn't get covered because she is Asian? It's so crazy that people just go missing. You'd figure, like... I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm always like, they're being tracked anyway, but, like...
Yeah, this was posted a day ago.
Apparently the almighty Illuminati is not keeping an eye on everyone all the time. It's not cost effective.
Cross-country trip.
Noticing a theme.
Oh, that's from moving from Jersey to California. There are... A lot of people do go missing.
And cross-country treks.
Well, there's... Have you seen, like, the heat maps of, like, cave systems?
Mm-mm.
So... I've seen, like, a figure that's, like, a map of all the cave systems in the United States, and then it's, like, a heat map of people that have gone missing.
That even just sounds spooky. Spooky.
Let's see if I can find it.
Welcome to the spookiest episode ever.
This is on Snopes. It's a mixture of true and fake stuff.
Heat maps, I'm assuming, are like just thermal imaging.
Yeah.
The top map shows mysterious cases of people vanishing without a trace. The bottom map shows America's largest cave systems.
So
it's just a correlation of the cave systems.
Yeah. So like in this whole region, missing people, and that's a cave system.
Wow. Maybe it's the mole people.
It gets kind of conspiracy-y.
Well, that's probably why it's a mixture, right? Because they have to acknowledge the fact that there is some things that add up or line up, but it's not a definitive answer.
Yeah.
Because ideally, you should be able to go into those caves and at least find remains. Like, I mean, in a worst case scenario.
I mean, it's hard to find that kind of stuff. Because if it gets like picked up and moved by an animal, or it gets destroyed, or something. Like, there's a lot of wilderness.
It's a big, big world.
There's also a lot of ocean and a lot of lakes.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, like, on the way to, like, Vegas or Utah or Arizona, it's like you realize how small a city actually is and how dense populations are, because there's so much more flat country, like, throughout the entire country, where it's just nothing. It's just fucking flat or mountainous, and that's it.
Yeah. And if they don't get found, like, within the 24 or like 48 or 72 hour window, like,
they call it off.
It's so hard to find people.
Yeah. That's so crazy. What if someone ran away? Like, let's just say I up and leave to Wisconsin the next day, and there's like a missing persons report and everything. You think they'll ever get back to me in Wisconsin, or do you think it's like you have to be in the middle of nowhere? If
it's like a widespread, countrywide like effort, like it sometimes does, but it's in very rare cases. They would. There's really only
What if I was like, I just wanted to go to Wisconsin?
There's really only 3 ways you can get there realistically: plane, car, or like bus. And like, you're not gonna fucking walk there. If you didn't get
If I walked there, I'd die somewhere in Arizona.
if you didn't get a bus ticket or a plane ticket
Yeah.
or take your own car, you're just fucking dead
yeah.
immediately. But if like there's security camera footage that you can look at,
What if I
in
bought
the airport or the bus station?
What if I bought a used car on Craigslist in cash? Well, I guess that's traceable too. It's just
they'd find the car.
they'd find the car, yeah.
and trace that back.
Yeah. Who was the last owner? Oh, some guy that lived next to him. So
Yeah, just check the registration.
that's a good start. What if I took all the plates off? I get pulled over. This is. I can see how hard that is.
Yeah. So like there is that sweet spot, that window to find people.
That's why it's always the first 48, right?
Something like that.
So she moved here to L.A. from New Jersey. Ghost Hand.
Plant Daddy.
Play the news.
2-hour drive from Los Angeles when she vanished in late June. A 30-year-old New Jersey native, Cho was staying there with friends, including her ex-boyfriend. The San Bernardino Sheriff's Department said these friends reported Cho was, quote, upset and presumably walked away from the resort, leaving behind her personal belongings.
Looked everywhere we can from 29 to Barstow.
As the Sheriff's Department and volunteers scoured the area, so did Cho's friends.
We have gone thousands of miles and tirelessly went to gas stations and pasted up flyers in the low desert, the high desert. We went out to San Diego because she said in the week before she disappeared that she just wanted to go to the beach.
The Sheriff's Department said her ex-boyfriend
beaches.
reported her missing about 3 hours after she disappeared. In a statement, investigators say, quote, he indicated she was suffering from mental distress.
She worked here at my studio. The plan was I was going to teach her how to pierce, so she was my apprentice.
Friends at home in New Jersey say she had wanted a fresh start.
The pandemic was wearing on her, and she had this opportunity to
our studio.
change scenery in
yeah.
her life
Play on
and
CNN.
go after a dream of cooking and chef work.
And baking, shown here on an Instagram account shared by Cho's sister. Cho's sister told CNN the family doesn't have an official statement right now, but described Cho as a dynamic firecracker of a person who's creative and funny. The San Bernardino Sheriff's Department says it has conducted multiple searches in the last 3 months. And even with the renewed interest in her case, they haven't gotten new substantive leads, leading friends and loved ones hoping more stories about Cho.
She is super caring, very loving, and
She sounds like
just a really
good
loyal
person.
and good friend.
May help jog someone's memory of having seen her.
And we just checked with the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department yesterday, Fred, about this case. They said, as of right now, they do not have any indication of foul play. Now, on the Facebook page that's managed by Cho's family, they have been posting about this constantly. And one of the messages reminds people now that there's renewed interest that Elle has a number of identifiable tattoos, including a mushroom on her lower leg and ankle, a lamb on her shoulder. There are potentially a lot of tourists who go to that desert resort area. So they're posting this out there, hoping that somebody might notice something. And if anybody has information, to please contact the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, Fred.
Jesus. That's so crazy that she walked away from her phone and all of her personal belongings and no one had a story of going after her. I feel like normally if someone storms off, there's usually that one friend who's like, I'll try and calm him down. So that's what interests me the most is all the details. It's like, yo, who's running this investigation and who has the information that everybody would ask the first question of. It was like, well, why did she leave? Why was she pissed off? Who was she pissed off at? Did anyone go talk to her? Did anyone do this? Did anyone do that? And everyone's just like, nope, no idea. I just got back on my phone, went about my business.
Like I said, most are found within 24 hours. If they aren't, the chances of finding them become very slim.
That's crazy.
You can get pretty far in that time.
There was
Or something bad could happen.
there was a movie I saw where it's called Men Who Stare at Goats, where they get kidnapped, and it's a true story. But they say that if there's an exchange, it's something about 2 locations. The first location, there's like a 80% chance success rate of being found and surviving. The second location, it drops to like 10. So, do you think there's still like an active like sex trade and slave trade that is coming from the United States somewhere? Maybe they're being like shipped out to other countries or territories that they're forced to do labor or sexual acts. How likely do you think that is to where it's like the U.S. government, like, let's go conspiracy real quick. The U.S. government was like, yo, we need to fucking pay Cuba off.
I don't think it's like a government thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was active sex slaves and like actual slave trade going on.
Because there's got to be something like that.
I mean, that's black market shit.
Yeah.
So,
to some degree, there's got to be someone or something out there.
yeah.
I don't know. That's just what I was thinking. Oopsie. Did we just die? Did we just...
No,
We're back.
We're fine. I'm doing this for you.
You don't have to. You just read it, because I can't read that shit anyway. Bigger, 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 bigger,
No.
bigger. Is that as big as it gets?
No, but that's what
Then
you
you're
get.
not doing it for me.
Makes everything over here bigger.
I mean, yeah, it's the webpage format. Boom. Yeah, most people who I know who do tattoos or piercings are kind of like what I would say falls into like a larger category of like kind of like hardcore or alt scene. And those people usually are very, very polite and respectful. Like, I say this all the time, like the nicest people I know are UFC fighters and hardcore kids. They're very inclusive and very respectful, and I think their style puts off a lot of people. But if you look past the piercings and tattoos and the fights, like, they're very knowledgeable and very aware of who they are and their capabilities, and that's very humbling to most people. And they are very tolerant of all walks of life and people, and they're just good people to be around who kind of know that life is fragile.
Last year, in 2020, there were 543,018 missing persons reports filed.
How many were found? Or at least resolved? Because, wow. Is that a graph over time?
Yeah, it's down from 1990.
Oh my god. There was a lot of missing people in 1990.
The most was in 97 with almost a million.
Oh my
980,000.
god. It's way down from that. Jesus. That must have been Steve Jobs versus Bill Gates. All the people getting black bagged who knew how to do DDoS attacks and program IBM computers.
So more than like around the average, it's like around 600,000 people of all ages go missing each year, and approximately 4,400 unidentified bodies are recovered.
Damn, so not a lot.
Not a lot.
Do you think most people get moved out of state then? Is it mostly in California?
Yeah.
That's fucking insane. California, Texas, and Florida, but a ton in California. Oh my god.
Yeah, Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, Washington.
How many people do you think get moved out of state that go missing? And versus how many who died? Like, how many is it like strictly just murder? And how many do you think is strictly just like kidnapping or I guess, sold into like slavery or something.
It's hard to say.
Just guess. I'd say half and half.
No.
No,
I feel like 70% of them are killed.
and the other 30% are overseas,
Yeah, traded somewhere.
or just transported out of the country. Is my thing. Like, how many do you think are just put on a plane or a boat and just sent somewhere else?
Yeah.
The numbers really depend on the age and the people going missing. That's true.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of kids probably get sold or sent somewhere. I assume anyone above the age of like 18 is more likely to be murdered.
Children would be easy to kidnap.
Yeah, that's true.
You can overpower a child.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some... I know this is going to sound terrible. There's going to be someone out there with a business model who knows where to hide a white woman who speaks English, you know? Even if they're like on like an island or like a boat or like, you know... I mean, if fucking... What's his name could do it?
Epstein?
Epstein. There it is.
There are more than 17,000 missing person cases and 13,000 unidentified bodies.
Yeah,
those cases are open still.
Yeah, dude, just imagine, like, there's a place called Kidfuck Island, essentially sponsored by the government, and a bunch of rich, wealthy people. Those kids came from somewhere. Like, it wasn't like Epstein was doing it. There's, like, for sure a black market in America where at least someone in America is paying for the importation of kids to an island that is built somewhere in the ocean with its own jurisdiction. Adults either murdered, accidentally, death, hiking. Yeah, that's kind of what I assume too.
They get 127 hours. Petito's boyfriend?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know if he's still alive, but it's not looking like he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
He totally did it.
he's looking very suspicious. So, pitched out and killed himself somewhere. Yeah, I mean, that's very likely. Maybe they're just searching for two bodies now, you know? No, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. I think they both had some form of mental illness and a lot of like emotional discrepancies. Like, you could tell. I actually saw like the whole interaction he had with the police, and I thought the dude was very weird from the start. Like, he was polite and, you know, whatever, but like, you could tell he wasn't like a social butterfly kind of guy. Like, he'd make like weird jokes and like giggle at the wrong time, and the cops were like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Don't hit your girlfriend." He's like, "Yeah, no, I know." But it was definitely a weird video to watch, seeing them get pulled over and then seeing how they both acted, because I could only assume, like, in my head, I assumed that it was like, that was the boiling point, and he probably knew at that point that he was gonna murder her, and she was like freaking out, and then the cop got involved, and she probably was like told, "Yo, if you say anything, I will kill you and your family," or like whatever it was. And he had to just play it cool, but instead of saying something, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what happened, but like, that's the feeling I get if we're talking about feelings. Obviously, I don't know, and we'll never know if that happened until we get the questions answered. But in my head, it looked very much like she was a victim from the start, trying to like flee, and
Abusive relationship.
and yeah, for sure. But they're abusive to each other. Like, when the cop stopped him, like, you could see like scars and shit on his arm and face and neck. Like, she was hitting him, but like, she
Fight back.
But they both had like bruises and shit, you know. So I don't know, but They both hit each other at some point. They were both
Fighting back.
yeah, either that or just kinky choke sex. But no, it was definitely abusive in both directions, and it was insane to see that. And like, it was weird. I thought the cops handled it the best they could, you know, to the best of their ability, to the letter of the law. But it wasn't enough time, unfortunately, for them to kind of cool themselves out and get their shit together.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads me to my next question. Do you think that he knew? Do you think they did the road trip so you could? Do you think he did the road trip so he could do the murder and all that, or do you think it was like
They probably just did it as a vacation.
spur of the
This
moment?
would be a good opportunity.
Yeah. And then like, do you think maybe during the road trip he's like, "Yo, this like, I just for whatever reason can't stand her anymore," or this thing she did or said,
Or he's just that disconnected and just be like,
yeah, just snapped one day.
just do it.
Yeah. That's possible too. Yeah, and that's what I thought it was, because when I saw them both with bruises, I was like, it's more likely that it was defensive, you know? Because,
What I said.
I don't know, man. It's so weird. It's tough. And I think that's another big reason why this has so much media attention, is because it tickles the brain.
It's like the Casey Anthony trial.
Yeah, it makes you go, oh shit, like, I wonder if this happened, and then there's no answers, so people just get more curious and more interested and more involved. It's like,
Start looking at it.
yeah, it's like people want to solve the mystery, so when they do want to try and solve it, they do what we're doing. They do what I'm doing right now. I'm like, oh, I felt this, or I thought that.
Rationalize it.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I think it's just not something you can really market. It's just something that everyone took an interest in, which is why it'll probably be on like a A&E or whatever is the network that does all those murder and crime documentaries, you know? But Reddit investigations, some of the best in the business.
Yeah, they are.
Really?
Yep.
You think Reddit's got anything figured out?
Maybe not, but they find a lot of shit.
What always impresses me is like Twitter. People be like, "Hey, this guy yelled at me at Starbucks today. Can you find him and cancel him?" They're like, "Yeah, you called someone the N-word, bro. Your life's over."
There's this.
He's fired from like their $100,000 job.
There's this guy on TikTok that I follow who does a pretty similar thing. It's actually really cool.
Reddit has solved many cases, actually. That's not a lot of people know about. I'll bet. I mean, what's going on here?
So I'm gonna show you this guy that's on TikTok who does.
Blue gloves. He would use this profile.
Hold on.
That's the Sphinx that you see in the image of your 8th grade textbook. And it's like, of course, just a white guy.
He would use this profile picture here of a white man on a Sphinx. Some sort of whitewashing, I guess. We call him Blue Gloves because every time he appears on screen, he's wearing blue gloves. He's giving out medical advice, and him and his audience were racist.
Our brothers and sisters that have lost their life.
Whatever happened to putting Pookie in the fucking ground and pouring some Colt 45 on him and calling it a day? Dude, your culture is trash. Look at this shit. Look at this garbage.
They were sexist. They were anti-Semitic. He had illegal weapons. He had explosive devices. He was pushing this agenda that all the doctors and all the educated people on this app don't know what they're talking about. Not as much as he does, because they were plagued by left-wing talking points.
Adding this to the end of your talking points does not give you credibility.
He discredited all medical advice on this app and gave out his own. He also provided fake COVID vaccine cards. So who was this doctor? Guilt and I realized we had to get this guy removed right away before anything else. He was very hard to identify because he never appeared on screen. He only appeared as hands wearing blue gloves. But he left little clues. Another person appeared in one of his videos, posted this one picture of his office lobby, and he put up a post about some girl that he hated named Veronica, and when we looked her up on Facebook, she lived in Leavenworth, Washington. So we looked for a medical office in Leavenworth, Washington that matched the lobby in that one picture.
This guy does it for justice, though.
No, I mean, vigilante justice is justice.
So once we found that,
by all means.
we spoke to the HR director there. We gave him the picture of Alyssa Riggs, the person that he had in one of his videos. We blamed her for Blue Gloves because it's the only face in there, because we knew if we did that, she would point the finger at Blue Gloves himself. It worked. They were both fired. When we spoke to the PR director at Cascade Medical, he told us, he confirmed, yes, Alyssa Riggs was fired for the TikTok that we made. Also, another person that he wouldn't tell us. That would be Blue Gloves. So, we kept checking the news. Nothing came up. A doctor who was doing all this, not in the news? Something wasn't right. So we continued looking at clues here and there. One thing that we noticed is he had a picture up of his balcony, and that balcony we were able to match with a community nearby that hospital. And because he was facing the woods, he had to have been in an odd-numbered unit, because the even ones faced in. And from the height he was filming, he had to have been on the 3rd floor. So that narrows down the people it could be. However, a lot of people living there worked at Cascade Medical. It was hard to tell who was really Blue Gloves. We continued to look. We paid attention to things that we weren't looking at before. For example, we noticed that in one single video, he didn't wear blue gloves. And when he didn't wear blue gloves, when he wore white gloves, what would happen? You could see through them, and you could see his skin color. He was black. And there are not that many black people in Leavenworth, Washington. Blue gloves. In one single video, he didn't wear blue gloves. And when he didn't wear blue gloves, when he wore white gloves, what would happen? You could see
I thought he
through
sounded
them,
white.
and you could see his skin color. He was black. And there are not that many black people in Leavenworth, Washington. And there's not that many black people working at Cascade Medical in Leavenworth, Washington. In fact, there's none. We looked through all the doctors. We looked through all the nurses. None of them were black. So who was he? Did we make a mistake? We couldn't have. We were verifying everything. And then when we looked at his other interests, which included cooking, gravy, food, we started to realize this is a person who never worked in medical, who felt inferior. And so he felt the need to pretend to be in medical, to put everyone else down. Blue Gloves was the chef. And when you zoom into his name tag, it says Matthew. Matthew R. Wilson lives on the 3rd floor in this community, facing the woods. Once we realized that, we realized everything else about him. Everything made sense. He's a fraud. He didn't have an explosive device in his house. When we checked with our friend Jolly Good Ginger, who's a veteran, that's serial numbers for a gun rack. The saddest part of all this is how hateful he was towards black people, because it really showed his character. He hated everybody. He hated everybody, women, Jews, Protestants, atheists, everyone, because he hated himself, because he felt inferior. And that is why he would make videos pretending to be a doctor, discrediting education. It was his way of wearing a mask, pretending to be a white doctor, making himself feel better. Matthew, a guy who really only had breaking and entering on your record, you had a lot to be proud of. You had your own place in Leavenworth, Washington, a beautiful place, in a beautiful city, working for a great company as a chef. You had a lot to be proud of. But now, I've reported you to ATF for your illegal weapons, to animal control for pointing guns at your cat. I've also reported you to the FBI for the fake COVID vaccine cards. Now I'm able to identify who is the one who's making them. I also reported you for practicing without a license, too. And on top of that, I took away your anonymity. Everyone now knows who you are. This hateful fraud. So I've finally given you a reason to truly hate yourself. And now it's justified. You deserve it, Matt.
God damn.
Yeah, so basically, him and like 4 people, one of them was like a hacker. Like, they just go around like taking down these like anti-vaxxers and people just spreading misinformation.
That was scary though, that video where he cut the black guy off and was like, your culture is trash, your culture is shit. Like, that was just the most racist shit you could do. Like, anyone doing that, that's unsettling. That makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, especially to do it to like your own kind of people.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be one unit together.
But damn, man, that is
But yeah, imagine Reddit on a case
On cracks.
like that.
On crack.
Yeah.
I mean,
They'll get shit done way faster.
that is amazing vigilante and investigative work. Honestly, hats off to that guy and
that
the whole
Dinesh
team.
guy.
Dinesh.
Yeah, that's his screen name. That Dinesh guy.
Hats off to that Dinesh guy and the whole team working with him.
Guilt.
And thank you for doing what you do, assumedly for free, and just for justice and because it's right, and putting a little more balance in the world. That's fucking awesome. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to anyone, doing vigilante type shit. You guys are the real superheroes out there.
Yeah, if you have a TikTok account, I highly recommend following him.
Is there anyone else
good
on
shit.
TikTok you recommend following that does something like that, or
No.
is he just one of the main ones who does it?
I mean, there's one lady. She's a pharmacist, and she exposes other people, other pharmacists that spread misinformation.
Is there a lot of
think of her screen name right now, but
misinformation in the pharmacy? I can imagine with
Especially
anything
nowadays.
with drugs and pharmaceuticals. Yeah. Wasn't there some nurse who was injecting people with saline solution instead of the COVID vaccine because she didn't believe in it?
sounds about right.
That blows my mind too. How would Reddit handle that case? Do you think Reddit would solve it faster? Because it's just a web of. Do you think?
I mean, it's more heads on it.
Just manpower.
Yeah.
You think Reddit's got a lot of hackers in the?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is so fucking crazy.
That's the power of the internet, baby.
So, do you think the internet's a good thing?
It can be. It can be used for good, and it can be used for bad.
It is undoubtedly a tool.
Yeah.
It is a tool.
They were able to find that guy's name, full name, and address.
And pictures of him with a name tag on, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he's right, dude. A chef is an honorable job, I think. I think a chef,
especially at a medical center.
Yeah, I think it is a very respectable title to achieve in a restaurant. It's the highest one you can.
Yeah.
Aside from owning a restaurant. But even then, most restaurant owners hire a chef. So you're really the authority in that case. So it's a shame to see, imagine being served by that. Imagine going to Islands or whatever, or fucking any restaurant, being tight with a manager, and they turn out to be some fucking crazy, racist, anti-Semitic, misogynist with an active agenda of hurting and harming people, and discrediting established doctors.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
But we got people out there fighting for it. So,
thank God. Do you think it's anonymous kind of, or do you think it's just
I mean, he's the face of it. So
yeah. No, I mean on Reddit. Do you think
Anonymous doesn't fuck with that kind of shit anymore.
No.
Oh. They're big stuff now.
What?
They're mainly just a threat.
Yeah.
So
they're just a threat. Are they a terrorist group yet?
No, probably not. But they don't really do much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No one's really heard of Anonymous doing anything in a while.
They've been laying really low.
Yeah, they're really just there in case someone big fucks up.
You know what's crazy?
I'm really surprised they haven't done anything against Facebook right now. I mean, they probably could have.
I saw memes saying they were looking into it.
They could have been the reason why Facebook was shut down for most of the day.
That's what I saw.
With that whistleblowing. And then also recently, there was that thing that someone who used to work at Tesla who was black got $174 million for a settlement for them being racist.
Really?
Yeah.
And they didn't want it probably out at all then?
I don't know details, but...
Damn. Well, look that up, and then I was going to say there's another thing. I follow Anonymous on YouTube because I like a lot of their videos, but their videos took a weird turn to where it feels more conspiracy lately. But I think that is because the one thing in Anonymous, they always say, we're not going to censor you. We're not going to tell you what to think. We're just going to, if you come out here spreading misinformation, we're not going to censor you. But, we will let other people disprove you and discredit you. So it's like put it at your own risk. So I think maybe that's why it's super weird on YouTube. But there's got to be some sort of chain of command in like anonymous, right? Like,
I think it's more like a collective.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's a
democratic system.
Yeah.
Like pure democracy.
Yeah. My dad worked for an Israeli guy. He was young, working with jewelry. He had a knife used to test sapphire clock glass. If it would scratch, used to say to my dad the knife was to kill Arabs.
Go Ghost Hand's dad.
God. Cool.
Yeah. Tesla was ordered to pay $137 million to a black former employee
Racial abuse?
for racial abuse.
Like physical or
California federal court orders company to pay Owen Diaz, who allegedly he faced daily racial epithets, including the N-word. Which is funny because Elon's from South Africa.
So he should have the N-word pass?
Well, no, but he is white, but he's from Africa.
But he's not like that's the weird thing, right? Is being born in Africa enough to make you African, or
yes, yeah,
or do you need to be more into the culture and the
no?
If
I was born in Germany, I would still say I'm German, even though I live here.
Yeah.
Even if I was just born and then moved immediately here, I'd still say I'm German.
Got it. Because like I got friends who like are Mexican, but they don't like spicy food, and I'm like, you're not Mexican if you don't like if tapatio is too high.
No, they're still Mexican.
All right.
Or if I'm from Europe, I would still say I'm European.
Damn. Well, I read a book in college once about a guy.
You can still say you're African if you're from South Africa.
I read a book in college once about a guy questioning his identity because he grew up Asian and he was mocked all the time for being Asian, and then he moved to like Koreatown, and he's like, I don't like the fucking food here. I don't like the people. Like, I don't like how they do anything. And everyone's like, well, then you're not Korean, are you? You're American. And he's like, I'm proud to be. Yeah, like you're right. I guess I am American, and I'm proud to be American. But like, yo, is it my skin color or my heritage, my bloodline? Is it my ancestors? Is it how I wake up? Is it what I eat? Is it like, do I follow the cultures? Like, there's so many things that you could use to define yourself.
Ghost Hand, what do you mean when you say that shit here? You say that shit today, you get beat. What saying what in Brazil gets you beat?
What did I say?
I'm Mexican. I'm white.
I'm white and I'm white.
You don't count. You're
know.
fucking French. Bullshit. Get out of here.
I'm Nordic. Norwegian. Was it just the whole you're white so you're not Brazilian, or he's Asian but not born in an Asian country?
So, say the equivalent of the N-word, you get beat and people agree with.
Yeah. Well, I was just more or less throwing it out there to, you know, as a brain teaser to be like, yo, what makes a person...
What makes you African?
What makes a person African? Is
Being
it
from Africa.
But that's what I'm saying, like, because...
So can someone who's not born in Africa identify as being African if they truly embrace that culture?
Let me ask you this. So if I was adopted into a Chinese family in China, ate Chinese food, spoke Chinese, but I was born in America, am I American or am I Chinese?
You're American. You're not Chinese.
Okay, so I'm an American baby, but all my values are Chinese now.
Yeah, that doesn't make you Chinese.
So are you... You're
an adopter of the Chinese culture, but that doesn't make you Chinese.
So you are where you are born.
Yes.
Not based on blood or cultural practices.
Correct. Ghost Hand is Brazilian.
So if I
am Mexican American.
If I was Brazilian and raised in a Jewish household, can I still... Well, I guess Jewish is still just a religion. But like... Judaism was
I mean,
founded.
you could say you're Israeli. For
Yeah,
a little bit.
that's what I'm saying. So, like, would I be Islamic if I learned
Israeli.
Israeli?
Islamic is more of like a region/religion.
Okay. Would I be Israeli if I read the Torah, had a bar mitzvah, and practiced Judaism? But I wouldn't be Jewish?
You could be Jewish, but you can also be a Polish Jew. You could be a different area of Europe Jew.
What if I'm born in San Francisco and I practice Buddhism? I feel like that's a little more...
You're an American. I don't know what you want.
You can never be Buddhist?
I mean, that's your religion, yeah. That's not like who you are.
Sure.
That's not your ethnicity.
Yeah. But your ethnicity is only where you're born.
Yeah, that's where you're from.
Not based on skin color or
No, it's where
creed.
you're from.
Okay.
Neither of you would look out of a place here at all, especially in my city. We have a lot of Italian, Japanese, and African people.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just calling into question, like, what do other people use to define themselves? Because I read that book and I was like, that's really interesting, because it's really interesting to read the story from a Korean author talk about how hard it is to grow up Korean in America, identifying as Korean, and then getting a taste of living in Koreatown and hating every fucking second of it.
So, like, did you read it and be like, damn,
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm Korean now. Did you have that thought?
No, I'm
Okay, so there you go.
I'm more or less enamored by the thought itself of like identity, and how is it a choice, or is it you're born here, this is your identity, regardless of being Asian, white, black.
So, yeah. Gosan says this well. Ethnicity is one thing, culture is another. Ethnicity doesn't lock you out of being part of one's culture. But, I mean, if you're born somewhere, you are that. You're that forever. You're never...
Just because you're born there.
You're never going to not be
born
that.
on American soil, you're American.
Yes. Some people hate that. Some people love it.
Well, is it based on law or not?
It is. It's
Okay,
based on law.
so it's based on law.
But people don't like illegals coming here and having children right
But
across
if the law changed, would this hold up, is what I'm saying? If America...
I mean, it exists in other places.
If America, Russia, China, and everything, all the democratic and governments fell apart tomorrow, and you had a child born here, would they still be American if everything was all of a sudden a shit show and fell apart?
I mean, it'd be more like a legacy thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was no rules anymore and no borders anymore, then...
So it's still the construct of society that determines that.
I mean, it's still like you're born in a certain region. That region was this area, that you're from that area.
Not anymore. No more regions, no more areas. No more borders.
I mean, you can't say that just because there's no borders. That area still exists.
Mm-hmm. But it has no name now.
It's like being from Eurasia.
It has no claim,
or
though.
Oceania.
Yeah.
Which is like the final continent. Because Australia itself.
So we'd just be North Americans.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it would still fall under...
Regionals.
Region.
It's region locked.
I am North American.
Yes.
Yeah. I've pointed that out too before. It was like, I don't know why people call Mexicans Mexicans when they're all North Americans or South Americans, like
Central Americans.
Central Americans. Yeah. I feel like to call someone Mexican in America is discriminatory because they are...
I wouldn't. It depends on the context that's being used, I'd say. Because like if you're trying to be derogatory, it can be.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you want to just
like
be
if
like,
you're saying like go back to Mexico or whatever.
But the specificity can help.
Sure.
Because if you're trying to like understand or like embrace their culture, like when Oscar took us to a Oaxacan restaurant, a famous Oaxacan restaurant, Providence that he's from in Mexico, and understand like what they're known for, and that's not. It wasn't just Mexican food that day. It was Oaxacan food. It was specific.
So, are you Mexican or you're American?
I am American,
but you're half Mexican.
Yes, because I was born here. Well, not here. I was born in Arizona, so technically I'm a Zoni, but
till you die.
Unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay. No, just shit like that tickles my brain, and it makes me start to jump from one question to the next. It's and I think it's funny because I often do shit like that, and I'm like, why? And people are like, because. And it's like, I'm not trying to start an argument. I'm really just trying to understand or see where you're coming from. But some people usually, like, if I said that in Brazil and got my ass kicked, I'd be like, what did I do? I was just trying to learn. I just want to know. This is actually brain reason why we devise people in groups.
That makes sense.
Yep. I was told it's from the hunter-gatherer.
Part tribalism.
Yep.
Part it's easier for our brain to process info.
Yep. The thing about science and math is we isolate the issue to try and solve it.
The variable.
Yep.
Not every variable is an issue.
Nope. Fair enough.
Because that sounds like the Holocaust or the Armenian genocide.
You're right.
Not every variable is an issue.
Yeah. But we do need effectively labels, which I think that was pretty interesting. Something that happened during the whole gender studies. That's a pretty new topic in colleges where a lot of people were like, I don't like labels of genders or orientation.
I'm tired of history. I'm ready for herstory.
Okay, yeah. Basically stuff like that where they're like, I don't like labels. Let's relabel everything. And I'm like, yo, that is an oxymoron. Like, it's one thing to be like, how do you identify? It's another thing to be like, I don't identify. I was like, okay, but like, you are still identifying by not identifying. It's one of those like, something can be nothing, but nothing can't be something.
Yeah. Paradoxical.
Yeah. It's one of those things is like, at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, it's going to only work one way. It either has to or has to not. To be or not to be. That is the question.
That is a question.
It is one or the other.
Nobody would kick your ass here. We're actually pretty lax with foreigners not getting us. Well, yeah, we don't speak Portuguese for the first. Yeah. Go be an open asshole, and they'll give you for the eye. But knowing your struggle with language and customs instantly disarms people.
I love that they're just like, fucking American.
Fucking white boy.
Fucking white boy. Fucking cracker.
And then you say you're from California, and then you get beat.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Can I get a California burrito?
Do you guys have a California club sandwich?
Avocado and everything.
Just get the fuck out.
Avocado's not even that good.
I love avocado.
That makes sense.
Why?
Because you're a fucking California guy.
I was born in Arizona too, dipshit.
Yeah, I lived there longer though.
So? That doesn't make you more Arizona than me. Yes, I was born in Arizona like you, goddammit, you want to fight?
It does make me more Arizona than you. I lived there for 13 years. You lived there for what, 7?
No, I'm losing my voice. 9.
Oh.
My voice keeps cracking. It's going crazy.
That's a whole 4 more years, my guy.
So?
And I don't hate avocado, but I understand why it's in everything.
So you think living in Arizona 4 more years than me made you hate avocado and made me love it?
I just said I don't hate avocado. I don't understand why it's in everything.
So you think I like avocado?
Avocado literally has no flavor. It's just...
It has not so much flavor, but it has a taste.
It's mush.
You had guacamole?
That's not just avocado.
Bear with me. You ever had guacamole?
Yes, I have.
You ever been like, this is good guacamole?
Mainly from Chipotle, and their avocado is not that great. Or guac, rather.
Guac. Either way. Guacamole.
We actually like avocado plain, eat as the fruit itself. No paste, no season.
I do that. I do that when I'm at Oscar's.
That's
we
weird.
eat breakfast. He'll scramble some eggs, and we'll eat an avocado.
That's weird.
Why is that weird?
Because it's gross.
That's culture, bro. You're fucking cultural discrimination? Appropriate? There's so many words. There's so many labels. There's so many feelings.
That's weird, though, because it's just mush.
Mushy. Damn. You really think you're more Arizonian than me, huh?
Yeah. I'm going to go to fucking...
That's not cool, bro.
I'm going to go to fucking Michoacan and eat the iguana soup from Raul.
I still got family out in Arizona.
I do, too.
My family could beat your family up in a fight.
My family drives a motorcycle.
Your whole family shares a motorcycle?
My family had attempted murder, so, you know.
Shit. That means you guys suck at it. My family's never been caught for it.
She's literally like 4 feet tall.
Yeah. I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to fucking Michoacan with Raul and then eat the iguana soup.
Iguana bowl.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'd like to try rattlesnake soon. And then I keep seeing caviar. Not caviar. Fish eggs. What are those?
Caviar.
Caviar. That's what I said. I really want to try some fucking caviar, but it's super expensive. Maybe it's a different variant. My grandpa had an avocado tree and used to eat as a child. Yeah, that's true. I mean, regionally, avocados in California are going to be different than the ones in Brazil.
Also, like the modified for mass production and
totally
whatnot. Like oranges. Fun fact, didn't used to be orange until they came here.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
Used to be green.
Anything you hate, you got to just try it. Like we had Greek food for lunch, and it was so. But I'm sure
garbage.
I'm sure Greek food in actual Greece is probably better because they use those ingredients. You know.
Yeah, it was just
the ingredients are a huge part of it.
Dry.
Yeah. It was pretty dry.
It left a lot to be desired.
Yeah. It was like a hand job, and you didn't even get a finish.
Yeah. With no lubricant either. Just dry palming it.
Ugh. Yikes.
It was a sweaty day, so it's rough too. It's not like a smooth, dry hand.
It's just a dry hand.
Just a sticky, dry hand.
It is 4:00. I have somewhere to be pretty soon, and I'm looking to get Josh into the show. So I think...
You don't have to if you don't want to now.
I want to. I want to, and I will. So, that's that. So I think this is a good place as any to wrap it up. If Josh has anything to say, Ghost has anything more to say, or anyone in the chat who's been shy now wants to say anything, I suppose now's your time before we wrap up.
Now is the time, and now is the place.
Speak up or sit down.
You guys have a good one. Thanks.
Have a good one, Ghost Hand. As
You
always,
too.
it's been anal. Fucking hell yeah.
I'll finish that beer.
I'll drink to that. How's Sasha? I know she's doing good. She's a goober.
She's always doing good.
She's a potato. Anal. She's great. She's asleep. She's always asleep. Such a good girl.
Well, she's an older dog, so.
Yeah.
Gotta get that rest.
Gotta get that boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, pow.
Boom, boom, boom. It's boom, boom, boom. Gotta get that boom, boom.
Boom, boom, pow.
Nope, it's boom, boom, boom. Way-o.
Good night, guys.
Good night, man.
Alrighty, guys. We'll be back on Monday, same time, same place. Full show. And I have a guest lined up for next Wednesday this time.
Ooh, do you?
I do. It's my guest.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
My guests are always good guests because they're rare.
Well, mine are rare too, but...
Most of the guests have been your guests.
By the way, I didn't even say that. It's totally my fault that Anthony was unable to come to the show today.
Scheduling error.
That was on me, guys. So
Error.
We're definitely working on rescheduling his show, and I'm still really looking forward to it. So, Anthony, thank you for working with me on the schedule. Still looking to having you on the show, man. And thanks for hanging out with us.